Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent today testifying on Capitol Hill, saying the administration has already cut $2 billion from the IRS technology budget without any operational disruptions. And they're not done yet. Bessent also vowing to make IRS audits fair again.
We are reviewing the processes for who is audited at the IRS. There's been a great deal of politicization of that. So we are trying to stop that. And we are also going to look at the distribution of who is audited and why they are audited.
Joining us now, House Oversight Committee member, Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. You've been a champion on this. You've been worried about this. How do we get the politics out of these IRS audits? I mean, when you and I served in Congress together, how many hearings do we have about this very topic?
Yeah, Jason and Dagan, great to be with you. And of course, let's start out with this. The fact that this was even occurring in the United States of America, it's unbelievable, unconscionable that you use the supreme, unbelievable, awesome power of the federal government to go after your political enemies. And I think that, obviously, first of all, let's acknowledge that it happened. I sure hope that while that's happening, that we're looking at how that happened and who did it, because there should be accountability. I mean, it's great that we're not going to do that anymore, but there needs to be punishment for those who did it, so that that's a fair warning to anybody in the future, regardless of your party, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, that you can't use the awesome power of the federal government in the form of the IRS to go after your opponents. And I think, look, it's a simple formula. We have actuaries, we have smart people that know, based on experience and the metrics, who's likely to have been cheating and how. And it should be based on that, not just what your name is, what political party you are affiliated with, what business you're in. If you're in the gun manufacturing business, which is hated by the left, or if you're in the climate change business, which is loved by the left, the one gets an audit every year and the other one gets no look ever. So I think that a simple set of metrics that people can understand, can be explained, will be accepted by everyone as fair and impartial. And that's what we need, so that people have faith in the system again, which they don't have right now.
It begs the question, what in the hay was going on the last 4 years? Who were they audited? Why did Lois Lerner plead the fifth, who oversaw the tax-exempt division and the entire Tea Party scandal within the IRS? She pleaded the fifth. Why? We still don't know. I get angry.
Yeah.
So I want names. Who got audited? What were they up to? But do you want to move on? Because this is
well,
my
I just hope
story.
Billy Long gets in there and they get actually as the IRS commissioner. But Secretary Bessent, I think, is taking this head on, and cutting billions of dollars just from the operating budgets alone is important, right?
It's absolutely important. Every single taxpayer gets up in the morning, they go out and they work, and they want to pay their fair share, but they don't want to overpay for things that are unnecessary and wasteful. And the fact that he found $2 billion already, that's awesome. I mean, we've got a $7 trillion budget, of which we're overspending $2 trillion. But for a lot of people, myself included, and I suspect you, $1 billion is a lot of money. And the fact that that's just being wasted and no one did anything about it before is unacceptable. So, we're happy that he's done it, and we want him to keep going. What else is unacceptable and wasteful at the IRS?
What else is unacceptable are labs run by the federal government killing animals, beagles, for medical experiments. And the National Institutes of Health under Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, under President Trump, has now closed experimentation labs accused of brutally killing thousands of beagles for 40 years. The FDA has phased out animal testing, required antibody therapies. First term under President Trump, they ended closed the largest cat lab. President Trump would never get credit for this unless we talked about it, Congressman.
You're absolutely right. It's been going on for a long time, and of course, we remember when Anthony Fauci sanctioned these labs and the brutal. Let's face it, it was terrorism on these poor animals. We understand necessary, valid medical research sometimes has to be conducted, but strapping a beagle's face into a cage with a bunch of horrifically biting flies, like. What do we need to know from that? We know it hurts. We know that that the poor beagle gets nothing out of it, and we know that we don't like biting flies. Like Dr. Fauci, he could have asked me. He didn't have to kill a bunch of beagles and make them be tortured and tormented to find that information. He probably could have asked any American or any human on the planet. This, again, not only is it horrific to think about that abuse to animals and the people. Let's think about this: the people that are okay with like Dr. Fauci, but also the unimaginable cost, billions of dollars spent to torture animals for what? And when many cases, maybe in most cases, this research gleaned nothing for the medical community that we used.
Congressman Scott Perry, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be with you. Thank you.